Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today, I'm going to be making my first tier list for Anime Power Defense. And, the more I've played the game, the more I've, seen some of the units' gameplay and stuff like that, the more I've played some of these units. And I'm pretty excited to say that for this game, these units are just so freaking solid and so unique in some ways. And I feel like there's so many more characters that could be even more unique in the future. Like it's just incredibly solid to see something like Gray getting something like an ice wall and stuff like that. It's just so interesting. So we're going to be talking about every single character in the game, including the rares, even though the rares are not exactly particularly the craziest, and we're just going to have to go through them one by one. And I'll discuss my take on every single character, whether that be if they have really good designs or if they have flawed designs and stuff like that, and what could make these characters better in the future because I feel like there's a lot of characters here that do deserve some spotlight for the position that they're in, especially for some of the early game characters. Because some of these early game characters are just so darn solid and they just do the job compared to other characters. So let's go ahead and dip into it. So first things first, obviously, if we're going to be talking about probably the best character in the game right now, would definitely be Trunks. If you don't have a money unit on your team, he's the only one right now. And he's just really, really good, super useful, cheap, not too expensive, and also gives you more bang for your buck than you expect. Whether that be infinite mode, whether that be um uh in the relic farming, whether that be in your challenge battle. And 9 times out of 10, you're not really going to need a farm unit if you have a very good unit. But in the early game, it's up to you if you want to use a farm unit or not. I think just automatically farm units are just the best in the game until a better farm unit comes out. All right, let's talk about Kuro. Now, personally speaking, b- when the update first came out, Kuro was like really bad because he was like a single target attacker type deal. And he would just like kind of just like beat up and attack like the closest one, and then after that the wind up and everything. I still think he should be attacking way faster, but damage wise, area of effect wise, and SPA wise, he's very solid. Incredibly solid unit. And for a character like this, I just think that, especially for an immortal, not even a mythic, he's doing near mythic damage as an immortal, and it's pretty crazy to me. No need for buffs, no need for debuffs. I think he's in a really, really good spot right now. It's just that I think that he also kind of falls off because of that, just a little bit of problem, which is the wind up on his animation on attacking. I don't know why the wind up is so long. It takes like after he gets his SPA done, now it's gonna take him like 4 seconds to throw the ball. Freaking yeah, that was the thing. Now, if we're gonna talk about some early game units, definitely Frieza's the top pick for early game. In my opinion, Frieza's cheap. He's well, actually it's a fact. He's cheap. He does good damage. If you get good stats on him, he'll take you all the way to end game. Hands down. He's just one of those kind of units that you kind of put down as a starter unit if you don't have someone like Minato and stuff like that, because it's just super solid unit. Not gonna lie to you, super super solid. Uh, and there's really no downsides to using him either because he's also a hill unit. Even though I don't really see any air units yet in the game, for a hill unit, he's just incredibly solid. Good damage, good SPA, solid DPS. Now, probably one of the more disappointing characters in the game is definitely Vegeta. He's probably the worst character ever because he's got like freaking the single target key blast attack like he's fighting Cell. Like every single fight that he's in, it's like he's fighting Cell. He cannot do more damage than anyone else here, and he's just really freaking bad and just terrible, honestly. Like never pick him up, never use him. He's just not even worth anyone's time because he can't even do a beam. He just throws out some multi-hit attacks, and it's pretty bad. I'm gonna try to speed it up, by the way, just so people could like stay interested in like the future units that I'm gonna be talking about. I know I put a lot of rares up here, so we're gonna do a little speed run on them. Zoro in the same category but slightly better. Piccolo in the same category but slightly better. Freaking Sasuke, he's like a budget Kakashi. I wouldn't say he's too bad. We're just gonna boost through all the rares real quick. What's another one? Another Luffy. He's okay. Like he honestly has some good damage. If you like get him in the right position. Goku, super solid, nice AOE burst. And Krillin, super cheap, honestly. For 4,000, you get like decent damage. That's not bad for early game. But if you already get lucky, then you don't really have to worry about using someone like Krillin. Naruto, I've seen him used quite a bit. He's not bad. He's actually pretty nice. Because he's fast. He does good damage, Rasengan, all that good stuff. Fast SPA, super solid unit. Uh, Sakura, absolute dog water. I can't. I think is it Sakura that does this? I believe because Sakura is the one that gives off uh the range buff. Yeah, range buff is so dumb and it's just so bad. Why would you even need a range buff out of all things? Range is like the last thing you ever want in a game like this. So useless, so boring. Like whenever it comes down to a character that you actually want to use, it's going to be probably someone like Lucy. But even at that, Lucy is like, all right. I mean, a minor damage buff is better than no damage buff, but realistically speaking, like the damage buff that she can give is very minor compared to the damage buff you could get just by getting copies of a mythic itself. So that's like, it's she's okay. I wouldn't say that she's the greatest. Freaking Pain. Oh man, Pain can really waste someone's time here. Because okay, if you don't run never go for Almighty Push. I'll just say this now. Almighty Push is his worst move. Just put him down. If you have him, just put him down. Have him target the strongest unit. He'll just like he'll keep messing with him and keep stunning him. The other problem is he also only spawns two of him, and his DPS like drops whenever you actually use his mighty push, unless you get some like really good stats on him. So it's like he's super solid, but for an end game unit, man, is he just his SPA is way too high. Like we're talking about like it takes like 20 seconds for him to attack still, and that's like really freaking bad. And no one should have to deal with that when there's other characters on this list that do far more work with less of the cost too. Because he costs way too much money too. I would even drop him down because of the money cost. He costs 19,000 just to get Almighty Push with that ridiculous SPA. When anyone else here could do more than him. Let's see, Minato, absolutely amazing unit. Probably top of the game right now. They opened up his attack range, so now he's got like more he's got a fatter range now. Very nice, super solid unit. Stupid fast. Like stupid fast, ridiculously fast. And the damage numbers could go like beyond 200 DPS. Just by himself, one Minato 200 DPS. Beyond that, by the way. And that's with like having full SS stats and all that stuff like that. Kisame, he's rough, man, because he's like, is he could be super good. He's like a budget pain, but it costs money to use him. That's the problem. Because his ability, right? His ability is just to like get the damage in and do a good slash, and then after that, right? He gets his single target, uh, stun move, which when it comes down to pain, you could just use pain instead, and then never upgrade pain, and you'll get the same effect as like if you got Kisame. So it's like he's good. He's got good AOE. He's not too slow. But Kisame, man, he just like for some reason he just really hurts to use because you want him to do more. Like you want that water prism to hit more than one person, and then it doesn't. Kakashi, I think he's underrated. I honestly think he's underrated. For a single target character, he's very fast. Very fast single target character, decent damage. I would say that he's definitely up there with DPS checks and stuff like that. Give him like a stun or something like that, he'll do it. But mm, like I said, he's not too bad. And with the appropriate types of upgrades and stuff like that, you can make him like probably one of your better single target attackers. Even though a lot of people consider him bad because he's single target. But you have to think about the cost. He only costs like 7,700 to use, and if you don't have anyone else, then he's kind of like up there. You know what I mean? His SPA is super low too. So I mean, think about that for a second. He could get like Minato levels of SPA if you just upgrade him. And of course, he doesn't do Minato's job, but right now the game is not that hard to where you need to like mid max that hard. And also, there's a lot of other characters here who are way better. Uryu, for example, It's good that they're actually updating the relic characters. These relic characters do deserve some love. I think that the relic characters definitely felt like mythic characters in the beginning, and then after that, now they're finally getting some more buffs and stuff like that. So very very cool. What are you? One of the more necessary characters to have in the game. He's kind of like your upgrade from Frieza, and he's just one of those units that you want to use future notice whenever you actually start to get into air units and stuff like that. When they actually release air units, of course. But right now, I think that he's like the upgrade right now. He's the absolute upgrade. Yuha, very cool. I love his design. I love his abilities. He's super solid. My only problem with Yuha, right, is just his what's it called? What's it called? What's it called? I think it's his SPA. Yeah, his SPA goes up to 12. That's by the way, that has nothing to do with his thing. That's just in general. Also, his total cost is like 37,000, which is insane. Way too expensive for the amount of work that you actually have to put in for this guy. Way too expensive because we're talking about 6,000 upgrade, 9,000 upgrade, 13,000 upgrade. When to get that same amount of DPS that you could be doing with him, you could have already put down like 4 freezes, 5 freezes. You know what I mean? Like I think it's 4 is the max, but still, like you could put down 4 freezes, get that worth compared to spending that much money on someone like Yuha, and that's why I don't really think he's better than like most of these guys up here. He is still a relic unit, so I mean he's kind of cool, but whenever it comes down to just cost efficiency, he's way too darn expensive. And I don't like that because expensive characters waste money, waste time, don't do enough early game DPS, and then after that, finally you get them on the board. He's not that crazy, guys. He only gets 2 placements. So yeah, that's not too bad. Now, on the other hand, the other one, right, the other relic guy, incredible range, really really good SPA, like super solid unit. I would say is like he feels a lot like Kuro in a way. Like they feel exactly the same in some regard because they're like up there. They're kind of expensive, but he's cheaper than Kuro, so he kind of does Kuro's job, but a little bit better than Kuro. So I mean, if you were to go in that direction, you could totally replace Kuro with him. Um, Yamamoto, man, the fall from grace with this guy. I swear, he's like Yuha, but he's like everyone's least favorite version of Yuha because the damage is really good. Don't get me wrong, Yamamoto damage very good. The only problem, right, is that cost. The stupid cost of 1 placement for over 78,000. It's ridiculous, man. There are other characters here who do more than him still. Keep in mind. Also, he loses full AoE and he goes into AoE circle. I don't know why that's a thing. His final attack, it turns from AoE full to AoE circle. Why is that a thing? I have no clue. The damage is up there, don't get me wrong. But you could do all that already if you have like all these other characters in your roster earlier and you never really have to deal with like him. And I mean, for his costs and everything, his SPA is not too bad. It's just literally just has to do with his cost. His cost is way too crazy. Like even his deployment cost is still like 2,100, which means you're not even going to be able to use him as a starter. Take advantage of that good damage. Oh, I forgot to put Natsu down there. Gara, I've seen people use Gara quite a bit. Now I can't say he's bad. I can't say he's bad at all. Honestly, I think he's a little more useful than Pain because his abilities are just not too bad. For a character that is supposed to be like, honestly, why is he not a support? Why is he not a support? He inflicts stun on his first attack, and then after that, after he just becomes like a normal attacker with like all right DPS, all right range. I don't know. I don't know. I see a lot. I see him on a lot of people's teams, but he's like a cheaper Kisame. Again, like up there, but not up there. Let's see. This dude, honestly, for the amount of range that they gave this dude, he's actually not too bad. Like I know his damage is lackluster a little bit, but and his cost is a little too high. But at the end of the day, like he's still very, very solid. I wouldn't pick any of these other rares over this guy. He just feels like a more updated version of where rares are kind of supposed to be, and especially for a hill unit, he's kind of fun. We got Gray. Gray is underrated, man. Honestly, a little too expensive in the 9,000s, but at the same time, he does come with a shield, and this shield is a lot more useful than you kind of think. I would even say like this would probably be the switch for me because that shield is low key more useful whenever you have him in the back line and you're just kind of like blocking people from like kind of getting towards the end. And you could just spam two of these guys, and they'll just spam the crap out of that wall, and they'll never get rid of the wall. Especially if they just if they keep spamming it. Which sadly, the thing is, it's not an automatic placement. It is a placement that requires the enemy to be there. So do expect in higher levels of gameplay that the wall does disappear. But with the right upgrades, he could be very, very useful. Very, very useful in that regard. I would even say like more useful than this dude. But it's because like they both kind of cost the same, but this is much more of a useful and unique skill than anything else. Ichigo's so bad, bro. I'm sorry. He's just like the cool range, really terrible hitbox, alright DPS. No, he's bad. Itachi, not too bad. I mean, I wouldn't say he's like the craziest here. I would say he's like probably up here, maybe. Obviously, because maybe even top of B. I don't know. This is more of an argumentative like thing because it's like he's very good. He's got Amaterasu off rip. Uh, he's got good DPS, good SPA. It's just that his range is lackluster and his total cost is like 10k. And you could get a lot more worth from a lot of characters on this list. A lot more worth. So I mean, it's like it's more. I would even suggest like more along the lines of this, maybe even this, because this dude now does that, but a lot better and with more range. Range is a pretty big factor too, but it's not as big of a factor. But when your range is like 20 compared to like everyone else's who's like freaking in their 60s and 50s, then it's like they're covering 3 times more ground than you, and that's very, very bad. Cell was so mid, so bad. Probably right there. Goku Black is very cool. In my opinion, I really, really like Goku Black. I think I want to do something like this. Yeah, Goku Black is kind of up there. He's such a cool character. The AoE is so big, so massive. I can't wait to get some more upgrades on him. Maybe drop his SPA. He's just got such a really good like hitbox, man. He's very stupid whenever it comes down to hitbox. Also multi-hit hitbox. And he's not too expensive. Like he's honestly not that expensive. 13,000 for what he can do, like is very freaking good. Because he'll cover it, man. He'll cover the spots that you need help with. And that's very, very important. Now, a character that did just get a massive upgrade was actually Obito, and I think Obito is definitely up here now because like he's just so good now. Like he got a damage upgrade, he's got incredible range, he's got really good SPA. Like Obito is just really good right now. So freaking if you have not gotten Obito, definitely pick him up. He's definitely worth a pickup for sure. Now, Tamari actually is rather useful because she's one of the only characters with a multi-hit ability. And that's just nice. I would say she's like right there. She's okay. Uh, homeboy over here definitely top of A. He's really, really good. He's really cheap actually, very, very cheap. I would even say that maybe go down this way. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense to me. And freaking with him, he's very, very solid, very, very cheap. I would even say he's like a little above Frieza in that regard. The only issue is he is only ground, so if they do add like air units, his job is pretty much useless because there are other people that do his job better than him. So kind of hard to say. But when it comes down to damage, this dude is definitely a beast. Very much up there. Very solid. He's like a budget Goku Black, and he could even match him in damage sometimes, just because of his DPS is really, really good. I still run him on my teams. It's just that since I got Goku Black and Kuro, they just do his job for him already. So it's kind of like I don't really need another guy who does that, and I'm not really tripping either. All right, so we got the 2 Attack on Titan characters. Now I've heard a lot of good things about Levi. Honestly, I've not really messed with him yet. He's like probably him and Eren are probably the only 2 characters I never messed with. So I mean, going based off the information that I know about him, he's got really good DPS. Like his SPA is super high. He's got really good DPS. He's freaking super cheap, and that's really good. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for cheap, good DPS characters that do their job just right. And that's exactly what we want. You know what I mean? We want really, really cheap DPS characters that just do their job. And the more that we have stuff like that, then the more that some people's jobs become more useless to others. Now, For Eren, the only issue I have with Eren is he's too expensive and his SPA is too long. Yeah, I think this makes a lot more sense, honestly, if we just do this because he's like right there, but he's like in that category of too expensive, might not use type deal. Like even I would even say Itachi's just slightly higher than him. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. It's because like I said, too expensive. It's kind of too hard to use. Like Kisame, too expensive, too hard to use. Freaking uh, Ichigo, too expensive, too hard to use. I would say that this is more along the lines of where I kind of want to put them. I would even say like maybe a little more like this because honestly, Yamamoto super good to like do end game content, but when it comes down to like actual usability and other forms of like content, very hard to say. Honestly, he's still up there though. He's still up there. He's still like that good secret unit. All right. Well, I think that kind of does it for this tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys got any comments, concerns, or anything like that about how I made my tier list, let me know down below. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell down below. Stay notified on all future content. Peace out.